There we go. Hopefully that is us recording now. I don't know why there's like a weird thing going on here with Zoom. Like the whole setup of it has changed. But anyway, here we are. So welcome to everybody who's here live. Welcome to everybody watching the replay. So good to see you all. I was just about to start talking about the next challenge that I've already started recording for. And because we're busy launching, we're busy building Be Sculpted at the minute. It's really exciting. There's so much going on with it. But I obviously don't want to leave you guys hanging while, we're waiting for that to be launched. We're kind of thinking June now. So anyway, I just went ahead and started recording a whole new challenge after this one, which I think, I'm listening to what you guys are saying. You're like, Kim, we can't keep paying $97 for challenges. And I get it. Like, I totally understand. So what I'm thinking of doing with this next one is trying to split it out to make it more affordable. So you can either just buy the workouts, or you can buy workouts and meal plans, or potentially you can buy workouts, meal plans, and coaching. I don't know, just to try and layer it so that those of you who are a little more budget constricted, which I understand, can not, will not have to like pay so much money. And those of you who are like, give me all the things, I want the meal plans and the cardio and the abs, and I want the coaching. And I'm just like, bring it on. For those of you who are like, seriously, have your overachiever hats on, then I just want to give you all the things. So anyway, I started recording yesterday for the new challenge, and part of my recording schedule, whenever we have a new challenge and we have like a deadline, I try to get 2 workouts a day done, and it really does it kills me. Like, it's pretty brutal because I want to go super heavy so that I can build muscle, and I want to go super heavy so that I can show you guys what it takes, but I can't always go super heavy because I need to obviously save a little bit of fuel for the next workout. And that's what I always say when people ask me, should they do 2 workouts a day? My answer is always no, because if you have to do another workout, you will hold back. You will hold back something in your workout because you know that you have another one coming. And that's what happens to me. And so this time I thought, okay, I'm not going to put myself under any pressure. I don't even have a name for the new challenge, which is so weird. Normally I have everything planned. I have no name for it. It could just be like more muscle. Who knows? And I started recording for it yesterday, and I went in and I just did a really brutal leg workout. And afterwards I was like, Tasha, like, it's very hard for me to make my quads sore now whenever I'm doing dumbbell workouts because they're so conditioned to it. But yesterday I just like kicked things up a notch. And then the beautiful thing is, because I knew I wasn't doing another workout afterwards, I went like really, really heavy. And I did it again today. I did so the new challenge is going to have 3 leg days. So one glute focused, one hamstring focused, and one quad focused. But obviously the leg days will work, all parts of the legs, just have a slightly different focus. And then we're going to put upper body into the 2 other days. One's going to be a push, one's going to be a pull. So today was a push day. And honestly, I went far heavier than I would normally ever go in the recordings, because normally I try and keep a little bit in the tank so I can talk during them and correct you on form, all that kind of stuff. Today I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna annihilate myself. And that's what I did. And I went really heavy, and I had to do so many drop sets. So the next challenge is going to be so amazing, because I'm really going to encourage you guys to get your heaviest dumbbells and do drop sets with me. So I had so many drop sets. I went like 4 reps with like 2 15-kilo dumbbells, and then dropped down into 4 reps with 10 kilos, and then dropped down into the rest of the minute with 7.5. So I'm really teaching you rest, pause, and drop sets, because I'm just going heavier than I've ever gone. And I'm really not looking forward to how my shoulders are going to feel tomorrow. So I'm really excited to bring you this challenge, and then Be Sculpted. Oh my God. You should see what we're building every day. It's like Christmas. So anyway, that's all my housekeeping news for you now. I just wanted to let you know that I'm not going to leave you hanging. After this, they're going to have something else for you to buy, and continue on your fitness journey. And then whenever Be Sculpted launches, you're going to be so shocked at how cheap it is, I have to be honest. So all this money that you've invested with me up until now, it's all going to pay off whenever Be Sculpted launches, because it's going to be a completely different model. And you're basically going to get like a full year for what you pay for one challenge at the minute. So there you are. Right. Okay. Let me get into the questions. I have Ivana Potonik asking the first question. And she says, hi, Kim. I'm really looking forward to seeing your posts from the 28th. Oh, so that's for this weekend. I'm actually headlining a bodybuilding show at the Arnold in the UK. So anyone who wants to come along to the Arnold this weekend and meet me, if you're in England, please do. I'm going to be at the Angel Competition Bikini stand doing a meet and greet. It's going to be absolutely awesome. And then she says, will any of it be streamed online? Are you treating it like your previous bikini shows with peak week, water manipulation, carb loading, increased cardio, or simply showing up as your usual stunning self? So, Ivana, this is a great question. And I had planned to do a water drop. I had planned to to really, get like absolutely ripped for the stage this weekend. But genuinely, whenever I looked at it and I realized how busy I am with recording these Zoom calls and doing all of the stuff, I realized there's no way I could do a water drop. Because when you do a water drop, you have to drink 8 liters of water a day. So I usually set myself a goal of drinking a pint of water or 500 milliliters of water every 30 minutes between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. So you're literally picking up and drinking 1 pint of water every 30 minutes so that you're drinking 1 liter of water every hour between 9 and 5. And can you imagine what it's like drinking 1 liter of water every hour? You literally pee like a horse. I used to joke and say, I need to bring my desk into the toilet and just sit on the toilet all day working so I can just pee constantly. And genuinely, I have considered doing that in the past. So there's no way I'd be able to get through like a 1 hour Zoom call like this without actually needing to pee. So I just thought, you know what? It's not a bodybuilding show. I'm not being judged. I'm in super hot shape. Like I have been dieting for it, I have to be honest. So I am really lean at the minute. Am I bodybuilding stage lean? A squidge off. And if I had done a water drop, I definitely would have been like super ripped and super dry. I haven't done a water drop. I don't intend to. And so whatever I bring to the stage, I bring to the stage. I'm not being judged. I'm happy with the package that I've got. And I'm just going to get out there and have some fun, which is going to be amazing. So, haven't treated it like a bodybuilding show. I just don't have time anymore. It's too difficult. And the reason why I stopped competing was because it was so difficult to fit competing in and around my life. So that's why I stopped doing it. So this is just going to be a bit of fun this weekend. I really am looking forward to it. We have members flying over from Australia. We have members flying in from America. We have them coming from Europe. It is insane how many members have come from all over the world to walk in this show with me. So I can't wait to share it with you guys. And I will try and do some live feeds on my Kim Constable account. I can't go live on my Sculpted Vegan official account or my Sculpted Vegan account on Instagram because they keep taking down my posts, so they have banned me from going live for like a year or something. So I can't go live there, but I can go live. I can't go live on Facebook, unfortunately. I'm not restricted in Facebook, but I don't think you can go live inside the phone, but we will figure out a way to share lots of it with you. Okay, Reza Chiz, C-H-Y-Z, is saying, I have hypermobility and joint stabilization is an issue. You are asking us to lift heavy in this program, but I have been told I should not and instead should focus on lifting lighter and keeping good form and not rely on the wrong muscles or joints, which can increase my chances of injuries. My question is, will I see results from the 4-week more muscle program if I can't go super heavy, or would I be better off with repeating earlier programs that focus on metabolic stress? This is such a great question. I am so excited to answer this, and I'll tell you why, because I have a question for you, Reza. And the question is, why can you not go heavy and keep good form? Like the question, the way I'm reading it, it's like you're saying, I can either go lighter and keep good form, or I can go heavy and sacrifice my form. So my question is, why can't you go heavier and keep good form? Like, is that not an option? Because I would never, ever recommend that someone goes heavy and sacrifices their form, ever. If you are going heavy and you are using wearing your shoulders as earrings or wrenching into your back, or you're just like struggling and throwing the weight around, then that is not recommended. And that's what no one on this program who's going heavy is doing that. You want to go as heavy as you possibly can with good form. And so if you go heavy with good form, you're not going to injure yourself and you're not going to injure your joints. Like I actually work with a lot of people who have hypermobility, and like Amy, who does, the butt camp workouts, Amy has incredible hypermobility, and she, her elbow joints turn inside out. Like it's insane. And she doesn't have any issues at all with going heavy. So I would say, this program, well, first of all, this program does focus on mechanical stress, yes, but it also focuses on metabolic stress, because we're not only doing 8 to 10 reps. We are doing 1-minute sets. So we're still focusing on metabolic stress, because let me tell you, if I was focusing on mechanical stress, I would be going even heavier than I am going now. Mechanical stress is lifting your heaviest weight for a limited number of reps. So you're doing maybe 8 to 10 reps, maybe 12 reps max, sometimes as low as 6 with your heaviest weight. So this program still does 1-minute sets. So whenever you're doing 1-minute sets, you're still focusing on metabolic stress. You're not working in mechanical stress really in this program, because we're working to 1-minute sets. So we're using metabolic stress, but we're throwing in heavier weights, but we're also using rest, pause sets and drop sets. And I'm going to be using a lot of these in the next program. So rest, pause and drop. So you go to failure with your heaviest weight, then you set it down, you pick up the next one, you go to failure again, you set it down, you pick up the next one. So if you were just doing mechanical stress, you would just do 10 reps with a spotter with your heaviest weight. That's not what we're doing in this program. So it's not an either or for you. It's not a lift lighter weights and protect your joints. You can lift heavy weights and protect your joints. And in fact, you should. So whenever someone has hypermobility, you should actually try and build as much muscle as you possibly can, because that muscle will protect your joints. It's muscle that protects your joints and keeps the integrity of them. And the more muscle you have, the more stable your joints are. So that's the option I would choose for you. Heavy weights with good form. So you always want to make sure that you are lifting the heaviest that you can possibly lift, even if it's just for 4 reps. Like in the shoulder workout I did today, I only managed, in the 3 sets of the incline chest presses, I only managed 4 reps with the heaviest weight before I had to set them down and pick up the next weight. So, and there were 4 reps with good form. It was full range of motion and all the way to the top. I didn't sacrifice my form in any way. At any time, I didn't sacrifice my form. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to go heavy, but keep good form. And as soon as you feel your form starting to go, you set the heavy weight down, you pick up slightly lighter ones, and you go again. That's what builds muscle. So that's the option that I want you to choose. Okay, Barb Gonzalez. Hi, Kim. How crucial is it to do cardio when we train like we used to during butt camp 3 or 4 to keep cardiovascular health in check? How many days are required? Is it okay to do 1 day off and 1 day on? I feel like we include cardio while lifting, so I just want to be sure for those days when I'm short on time. Thank you so much in advance. Okay, so Barb, you know what I'm going to say here, okay? So your cardio should be tailored to your goal. If your goal is fat loss, which I know yours is, you need to be doing as much cardio as you possibly can, because cardio is what is going to burn the fat. So yes, our heart rate does go up during these kinds of workouts, but it doesn't go up consistently. And that's what you have to remember. Cardio is about consistently raising your heart rate into the fat burning zone and then keeping it there for a period of time. That's what triggers your body's fat burning response. Now, whenever you're lifting heavy weights and your heart rate rises during a set and then it falls and then it rises and then it falls, does that also burn fat? Yes, but not consistently in the same way that cardio does. So the cardio that you do on this program should be tailored to your goal. I did include 20-minute cardio sessions in this program because it is a build. And so for anybody who wanted to add some cardiovascular health to their fitness regime, which I recommend that everyone does, especially if you're not super active during the day, then that is going to help you to lift more weights. So there's 2 ways you can look at this. If you're doing this program as a build, I do fully recommend that everybody still does cardio. Why? Because the fitter you are, the more weight you can lift. Quite often, whenever you're lifting weights, your cardiovascular system will give out way before your muscles do. So if you are cardiovascularly fit, then you will not be as out of breath whenever you're lifting the heavier weights. And if you're not as out of breath, you're going to be able to lift more weight because you're not like, you're not like panting during it and like finding it really super hard and your head is pounding and your muscles feel like they're going to give out and your lungs are burning in your chest. Okay. Whenever you are cardiovascularly fit, you can lift more weight. You can do it for longer. You can do it heavier. You are just fitter in general. So I always recommend that even if someone is on a build, they always add cardio because cardio will make you fitter and therefore able to lift more load. Now, if your goal is fat loss, then your cardio should be tailored towards your fat loss. If you're not at your body goal yet, if you still have fat to lose, then you should be eating in a calorie deficit and doing cardio every single day or at least 5 days a week until you get to where you want to be. So does that mean you can never have a cheat meal, never have a day off? No, of course it doesn't. But in order for you to lose body fat and get to your ideal body composition, you need to commit to cardio and a calorie deficit for a long time. Because when you're consistently in a calorie deficit, your body will consistently go to its second energy source, which is fat store, and it will burn fat from fat stores. And whenever it burns fat from fat stores, your overall body fat reduces. So if your goal is fat loss, then your cardio should be tailored to your fat loss goal. So what would I recommend? A minimum of 20 minutes, 5 days a week, which is the cardio that I recorded for this program. Minimum. If your goal is faster fat loss, then throw in some throw in some HIIT workouts or throw in some 30-minute cardio sessions. You have to figure out, how can I move more? How can I move more? How can I get my heart rate up more? How can I push my body more? So if you committed to doing HIIT cardio every day, which I absolutely detest, but I would do if I really needed to burn fat quickly, HIIT cardio is going to burn fat faster. Like, it really is. Just think about it this way. The harder you work, the more fat you burn. The higher your heart rate goes consistently, the more fat you burn. And I'm not buying into the whole, but it will spike my cortisol levels because I'm in menopause. I'm not saying you're saying this, Barb, but I get this all the time. But I'm in menopause. I should avoid, exercises that spike my cortisol. No, love, you just want to avoid anything that's hard, right? And I get it. I'm not judging you for it, but just be honest about it. It's not about your cortisol levels. It's about you wanting to avoid doing something that's hard, right? Because we're old now and we don't really want to do hard things, right? But we also want to be lean and thin and muscular and have great bodies, but we want to have them without a lot of effort. Is that too much to ask? Like, really? Like, seriously, can I not just have the same body or better that I had in my 20s with a minimal amount of effort? I mean, it's just deeply unfair that it doesn't work that way. So the harder you work, the more fat you will burn, the faster you will reach your body goal. That is the law of physics when it comes to body composition change. But if you can't be bothered to work that hard, I get it, no judgment, that your fat loss will be slower. And if you stop doing cardio altogether, well, you're probably not going to burn much fat. Now, will you eventually, over time, years and years and years and years and years down the line, build more muscle, change your body composition, and burn more fat? Yeah. Are you ever going to get down to stage lean percentages of body fat? No. Why? Because it takes an enormous amount of effort over a long period of time. I'm getting a lot of comments at the minute on my body. You've all seen how much my body has changed. You're looking at it now in this, more muscle program. And so many people are now writing to me, even on, you guys are writing to me on Facebook and Instagram and everything, and just being like, holy smokes, Kim, your physique is so different to it was a year ago. So I just want to repeat what I just said there. Your physique is so different to it was a year ago. I am a professional athlete with an enormous amount of muscle. Fitness is my job. It has taken me 1 year to get to the shape I am now. 1 year. I now have a 22-inch waist. I am so lean. I'm about 13% body fat. It's taken me a year to get here. Could I have done it faster? Yeah. I've done it before for the stage where you get this lean in maybe 14 weeks. And you're half dead by the time you get there because it's insanely hard. But I have taken a year to do it slowly and steadily. But let me tell you, I have been hungry for a year. I'm not going to lie. Somebody said to me the other day, Kim, what is your microdose of your GLP-1? And I said, I take 0.1 milligrams a week of semaglutide. And they said, 0.1, have you never increased? And I said, no, I've never increased. They were like, but how do you control your hunger? And I was like, sheer willpower. And she was like, really? I was like, yes. And she said, oh, I thought you used the GLP for hunger. I was like, the GLP used to dampen my hunger in the very beginning, but now it really does nothing for my hunger because I've been on it for a year now and I've never increased past 0.1. And so my inflammation is kept completely at bay, but I spend most of my life hungry. I really do. Like, that's the only way you can stay 13% body fat is to be hungry most of your life. And I know I say this almost every single week and I'm like a broken record, but it's true. I wake up in the morning now and I have like a scoop of protein powder pretty shortly after I wake up, which gives my body a shot of protein. And then honestly, I don't eat again until about maybe 11 o'clock. So, and I get up super early. I'm awake at 5. So I have coffee and then I have like a scoop of protein powder, just blend it up in the blender just to get some protein into me. I mix it with a little bit of soy milk and then that's all I have in the morning. And then I come to the office, I record one of my workouts, I do some work, I have a cup of tea with Tasha, and then sometimes, usually at around kind of 11 or 12, that's when I eat again. I always have the protein to make sure I raise my metabolism, but I don't eat again until about 11. And then I have a very small lunch at, I usually have overnight oats with protein powder. So overnight oats with chia seeds, raspberries, blueberries, and protein powder is what I will have at about 11 o'clock. And then in the afternoon, I will usually have a protein yogurt. Sometimes I will have another protein shake. Sometimes, like today, I was actually quite hungry, so I had like a vegan chicken sandwich with like vegan mayo. But like that was actually because I'd done such a hard workout and I didn't really eat a big breakfast. Like my calories during the day are so little, guys. They're so little. And then I have a good big dinner when I go home, and then that keeps me satiated until I go to bed. I would honestly say at the minute with this show coming up, my calories are probably about 1,200 a day. And they probably have been consistently 1,200 a day for, I want to say, 3 months now. And that's why my fat loss has accelerated. Now, have I lost muscle? No, not any muscle that I didn't want to lose, because I'm still training super hard. And I still have my big bottle of water with my BCAAs and my salt in it every single day. So my body is getting the amino acids that it needs. And I'm still eating about 150 grams of protein a day. So you have to be hungry to lose body fat. There's no other way you can do it. And anyone who thinks that they can get down to super lean percentages of body fat while still, eating Oreos and pizza and, and having a glass of wine every single night, it just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. You want to be super lean, you have to be prepared to work hard for it and be hungry and be uncomfortable. You don't want to be super lean, no problem at all. You can have all the treats you want in the world. But what you can't have is my body your way. It's just not possible. So if you want to, back to your question, Barb, if you want to lose body fat, then you have to be doing cardio. If you don't want to lose body fat, don't do cardio. But I'm addressing you specifically because I know you do want to lose body fat. So I'm not giving you permission to give up the cardio if that is your goal. I'm holding you accountable to your goal, which I know is body fat loss. It's not fitness, it's body fat loss. Get on the cardio, girl. Keep the cardio going. It's not going to hinder your muscle building. It's going to help it. Okay. And make sure that you're counting your calories, because Barb, I'm speaking directly to you now. I know the meal plan is where you struggle, but if you don't want to follow the meal plan, don't follow it, but count your calories. You have to make sure you're eating in a calorie deficit. If you're doing cardio and eating in a calorie deficit and strength training, you will lose body fat. Will it be easy? No, it's going to be hard as shit, but you're tough. So you can do it. And I believe in you. Okay. Next question. God, Kim is on a roll today. Paula Walla. Super loving this program. Lifting heavy is making my body so happy. I appreciate the thought put into the program. I appreciate you, Paula. Thank you. Any tips for elbow pain with tricep exercises? The only tricep lifts I have found not to aggravate my elbows are overhead tricep extension and tricep dips. Any other tricep exercises so far in the program really hurt my elbows in the exercise and afterwards as well. Thank you. So 2 things I would say, Paula, is number 1, if you can do overhead tricep extensions and tricep dips, then just do those. You will build great triceps just doing those. If you can do them with no pain, that's great. But here's my little caveat. If you can do tricep dips, then you can definitely do skull crushers, because they are exactly the same exercise. Skull crushers are exactly the same exercise, but it might just be the position of your hands. So with skull crushers, we normally have our hands facing each other. So whenever we're doing this and we're bringing our arms up and down, our hands are facing each other. So what I would say to you to do is, because in a tricep dip position, your hands are facing forward like this. If you're listening to this in the podcast, you can't hear me, but if you're watching the video, you can. So because your hands are facing forward like this in a tricep dip, try doing your skull crushers like that. Try holding on to 2 dumbbells and face your knuckles up to the sky, and then do your triceps that way. Because if you can do the overhead tricep extensions, which are like this, and then the tricep dips, which your hands are like this, I reckon you can do skull crushers as well with your hands in a different position. So quite often, whenever we have some kind of impingement or injury, we just need to figure out a way for doing the exercise that works for us. Just like I always say, when we're doing shoulder presses, your hands don't have to be facing forward. They can be at an angle. They can be in hammer press. They can be in any angle that works for you. Same with press ups, same with the chest work. Any angle that works for you is the best angle. Exactly the same for triceps. Hands don't have to be facing each other. Hands can be facing away from each other. If you can't do the skull crushers with your hands straight back, you could do the alternate ones where your elbows are out to the side and you're bringing your arms up and in. Loads of different ways that you can work triceps. You just need to figure out the hand position that works for you. And if you try them all and you realize that none of the hand positions work for you, that's totally fine. Just you keep doing overhead tricep extensions and tricep dips, and you'll be absolutely grand. Okay, Nicole Elliott. Kim, my quads are thanking you for day 1 this week. Oh, you're very welcome. She says, I know I went to failure because I literally had to pause, then go again, drop the weight for another rep or 2. It was a tough one. For the single leg squat, I think I was putting too much weight on my back foot, but I'll have to try something else next time. Maybe more elevated and back foot totally off the floor. Yeah, you can put your back foot off the floor. You could rest it on a chair, almost like a Bulgarian, but have the chair really close. But you could also just be really, really mindful of keeping your back toe light. But to be honest, the back toe can be fairly sturdy on the floor. It's not the lightness of the back toe that causes the action. It's the it's the position of your legs. Your back toe could have been further back than it needs to be. Your back toe should be in line with your heel, with your front heel. So a one-legged squat is really more about the close stance rather than being a long stance. That's what makes it more quad focused and less glute focused. So play around with your foot placement and just try to keep the back toe as light as you can, but it doesn't have to be super light. She says, my question is about food noise. It's all day long, but worse in the evenings. Even if I'm full, I will still eat something, yogurt, rice cake, etc. I'm considering microdosing a GLP-1 to make it stop. Would this help? I don't want to lose any weight with it, and all my blood work shows I'm super healthy, so I'd hate to wreck things. Great question. So here's the thing about a microdose of a GLP-1. It will work in the very beginning to slightly reduce your cravings. So what I found when I first started microdosing was that my cravings for food, my food noise was ever so slightly turned off, and it was brilliant. I loved it. But over time, your receptors do get more used to the GLP-1, and the food noise stops being as profound. It is still there ever so slightly, but not really significantly. The longer you are on the GLP, the less effective it is for food noise. It is still hyper effective for me at on a microdose for my hip pain, but also I have been taking BPC 157 and TB 500 for about a year now. In fact, about 9 months. And I would be very interested to come off the semaglutide now and see, is my hip pain still there? Because the TB 500 and the BPC 157 are incredible peptides for deep tissue repair, tendon repair, ligament repair, quelling inflammation. They are phenomenal for that. And I've been injecting BPC into my gluteal tendinopathy now for about 9 months. And I would be and I've just noticed that, I was going to say I'd be very interested to see what happens if I come off the semaglutide. But what I have noticed now is by about day 5 in the beginning, whenever I was due another semaglutide shot on day 7, I noticed that my hip pain started to come back. And if I ever went past 7 days with the GLP, I did notice that my hip pain was back with a vengeance. I haven't noticed that anymore. I haven't noticed it there by day 5. I've gone like 10 days off the GLPs, 10 to 14 days before, no hip pain. So it could be a combination of both. It could also be it has repaired from the BPC 157 and the TB 500. But you will notice that over time the GLP-1 at a microdose it doesn't help with food noise. And I think that one of the misconceptions about microdosing is that it is for fat loss or it is for food noise. It really isn't. If you wanted something for food noise on a lower dose, I would almost recommend tirzepatide instead of semaglutide. But again, it's going to stop working over time, and that's the problem with it. A lot of people message me and they say, I really want to start microdosing. I have about, 10 kilos to lose or even 10 pounds to lose. And I always say to them, microdosing is not for fat loss. If you are slightly heavier, which I know you are not, Nicole, but if someone is slightly heavier and has a reasonable amount of weight to lose, microdosing won't do jack shit for them. It really won't. The reason why these drugs have been approved pharmaceutically at higher doses for obesity or for, significant fat loss is because they have tested them at lower doses and they don't work. Remember, they always want you to take the minimum effective dose of a drug or a GLP. And the reason why the drugs are approved for people who are overweight in high doses is because that's what it takes to work. So will a microdose of a GLP-1 work? It could work in the beginning. It certainly would work for a while. It would start to wear off over time, and then that will be up to you as to whether or not you wanted to continue taking it. But the other thing I will say is I am a massive advocate for GLP-1s in general. It is my belief that in 10 years, maybe even sooner, in 5 years, every woman over the age of 40 will be on a microdose of a GLP-1. I believe every woman over the age of 40 should be, if they can afford it or get hold of it, and they're becoming more readily available, but should be on a microdose of a GLP-1, specifically semaglutide. Why? Why am I such a huge advocate for this? Because GLP-1 specifically, so in semaglutide is pure GLP-1. Tirzepatide, which is Mounjaro and Zepbound, it works on GLP-1 and GIP. So it's not as simple as this, but think about it this way. It is 5 parts GIP, which works only on your gastric emptying and on your appetite and your cravings. And it is only 1 part GLP-1. So the GLP-1 is so small in tirzepatide, which is Mounjaro and Zepbound, so small, on a microdose, it won't do anything for inflammation. On a microdose, it could work on your appetite, but it won't do anything for inflammation. On a regular dose of 2.5 or higher, it will do something for inflammation because the level of GLP will be enough to deal with inflammation. A microdose of semaglutide is pure GLP-1. GLP-1 has been proven to be a master anti-inflammatory. They are now using it in doctors' surgeries, in plastic surgeons in America. They're now using it post-surgery to reduce inflammation in patients who have undergone surgery. And when it crosses over into that kind of therapeutic use, you know how good it is. I have a friend of mine has recently started taking semaglutide. He's a very, very old friend. I've known him for like 25 years, in fact, longer than that, 30 years. And he has fibromyalgia, and he actually had to take early retirement because he used to be a tree surgeon. He had to take early retirement because he could not work anymore due to the pain. And he came to me for advice on peptides, and I advised that he start taking the Glow Stack, which is TB500, BPC157, GHKCU, and NAD. And I said to him, he's also on DSIP, which is Delta Sleep Inducing Peptide, and another one called Hypermobility because his sleep was all over the place with the pain. But I said to him, you should start taking, semaglutide. So he got a prescription for semaglutide and he started taking it. But here's what happened, right? He misread the label. He thought he was supposed to take it every day. You're only supposed to take it once a week. So he was taking semaglutide every day and he was extremely sick and he couldn't figure out what was causing it. He thought he had a stomach bug. Now, he wasn't taking the full dose every day. He was taking 0.1 milligrams, less than half a dose every day. But he was taking it every day. And so he messaged me about a week later. He was like, Kim, I am so sick. I think I've got a tummy bug, whatever. And I was like, oh, that's terrible. I thought he must have had a tummy bug too. So he continued this for two weeks until he had completely finished the pen. and then he realized he'd be taking it every day instead of every week. So whoops. But that was fine. He started to feel better, which was great. And then he messaged me and he was like, oh my God. Now he's been on the Glow Stack for about 4 or 5 weeks now. He messaged me on Saturday. I wish I could read you the message, but I'll just tell you. He said, I'm literally transformed. He said, I'm actually going back to work. He said, I went out on Saturday and I felled an enormous oak tree. He said, cut it all up, had it all sitting ready to go. And he said, I expected to be in so much pain that night. He said, no pain whatsoever. Every pain in my body is gone. And he said, I'm actually going back to work 3 days a week. He said, these are transformative. And I said to him, it's the GLP-1. I said, you overdosed on semaglutide inadvertently. But I said, now what has happened is it is literally thrown a bucket of water on every single cell in your body that contained inflammation. And he was like, whatever the fuck it is, I'm here for it. I need more. So he's got another prescription now and he's now dosing effectively once a week. But that is how powerful GLP-1s are. Now, what has this got to do with women? Well, women over the age of 40 start to suffer inflammation naturally because of two things. Your estrogen levels start to fall because you start moving into perimenopause at around age 35. So as your estrogen levels decline, your inflammation naturally goes up because estrogen is very, very, very good at keeping inflammation at bay. Second thing that happens is your body naturally starts to accumulate more body fat. Body fat is very inflammatory. Very inflammatory. Your body releases cytokines into the bloodstream, which are very, very inflammatory. And so the more fat you have, the more inflamed your body will be. Naturally, as we move through menopause, we accumulate more body fat. Our estrogen levels fall. We are literally a walking flame. We are a walking flamethrower, right? Inflammation just like fires up in our body over the age of 40. A microdose of semaglutide keeps all of that at bay. It just keeps all of it at bay. And people are like, but are you going to take it forever? I'm like, damn right I am. As long as it's available to me, I will never, ever, ever stop a microdose of semaglutide. And I have been preaching this, as you know, for a year now, and women are coming to me in droves. I have 5,500 people in my Telegram group. 5,500. The group is insane. I find it so hard to keep up with all the questions. But the reason why I've been preaching this is because it changed my life. And it has changed the lives of all of the women that I have been speaking to that now are on the GLP. I have them writing to me every day. A girl today sent me a video. Kim, oh my God, the Glow Stack, look at my skin. What you have done for me. I have no endometriosis pain anymore. She's really bad endo. She was like, I haven't had one pain since I started semaglutide on a microdose. She is just blown away by the effectiveness of this. So go back to the question, should you consider a GLP to minimize the food noise? My personal opinion is speak to your healthcare provider. Do not take this as medical advice. This does not constitute medical advice, or I'm not in any way telling you should or should not do this. But what I would suggest is that you look into it, because my personal experience and the experience I have, the data I have from working with millions of women, is not only does a GLP-1 help a little bit with food noise, but it also lowers inflammation in your body, which is literally one of the best things you can ever do for yourself if you are a woman over the age of 35. So my answer is always, yes, a resounding yes, I would explore it for sure. Because even if it doesn't help with food noise, it will help with a whole host of other things. I literally believe that we'll be taking GLP-1s like we take HRT now. HRT is so widely accepted now. Everyone is on it. Everyone does it. Everyone is taking HRT as they should. I believe that a GLP-1 will be exactly the same as HRT in 5 years or less. I do think it'll take probably that long for it to become mainstream, but I do believe that women will be on a GLP-1 once a week, every single woman, or not every woman, but it'll be so mainstream very, very, very quickly. It's becoming mainstream at the minute. So my answer is yes, it is definitely something I believe you should explore, but always work with a registered healthcare provider to, create a plan that works for you and do your due diligence before you would make a decision. See how responsible I am these days with giving out advice. Rather than just saying, yes, you should do it. I'm like, consult your healthcare provider. Tatiana Jacko. My first program with you, and I'm truly enjoying it. This is your first program? That's so exciting. I didn't expect this to be anyone's first program, because I didn't even advertise this one. This is just for my special insider girls. She says, I'm truly enjoying it. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. I am very excited that you're here. I am currently following your 1200 calorie shred meal plan. How long do you recommend staying on this specific 1200 plan? Is it intended for 4 weeks, or can it be followed longer? Additionally, how much time should I wait before starting another shred? I've been binge watching your podcasts. Good for you. Gold star. And in one of them, you recommend starting at a higher calorie count than dropping by 100 calories each week. For my next cycle, would it be better to start at a higher calorie intake and reduce it week by week? I apologize if these questions have been asked before. I appreciate your help. Never apologize for asking questions. I answer the same questions over and over and over and over and over again, and I never get tired of answering them, because everybody is a beginner at some point. So should you stay on 1200 calories? 2 different ways to answer this. First one is, if you have a very specific shred protocol. So let's say you have a bikini competition or a big vacation or a wedding or some special event that you need to be shredded for in, let's say, 16 weeks, okay, 4 months. That's when I would recommend that you start on a higher calorie goal, higher calorie count, and you drop gradually over each week. That's how bodybuilders do it. So in order to follow that protocol, you would work out what your TDEE is. So your TDEE is your total daily energy expenditure, which is your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, added to how many calories you expend during the day. So let's say your basal metabolic rate is 1,600 calories, and you burn an additional 200 calories from the amount of muscle that you have, from how active you are, and how much exercise that you do. That means your total daily energy expenditure that you need to eat every day to maintain your current body shape and size would be 1,800 calories. So in order to lose body fat, you would need to eat less than 1,800 calories. So if we worked out that your TDEE was 1,800 calories, I would start you on 1,700 calories on your shred. So let's say that your shred timeline was 16 weeks. Well, you couldn't drop 100 calories per week over 16 weeks, because then you would be down to 200 calories a day. Because if you had because if you started on, you'd be down to 100 calories a day. If you started on 1,700 calories and you dropped 100 calories per week for 16 weeks, you at the end would be eating 100 calories a day, which is not sustainable or advisable ever. So you wouldn't be able to drop 100 calories a week. You would have to drop maybe 50 calories a week, but you would probably never go lower than 1,200 calories. So let's say you started on 1,700, you're dropping down to 1,200. That's 500 calories you're going to drop. You've got 16 weeks to drop 500 calories. How would you do it? I would probably drop 50 calories every 2 weeks, or I would drop 50 calories every week, and then I would pause at the 1,200 calories and I would increase the cardio a little more. But usually whenever you follow that kind of protocol, you're gradually dropping your calories and you're gradually increasing your cardio. So what you're doing is keeping your body guessing. You're gradually increasing the amount of calories you're burning and you're decreasing the amount of calories you're consuming, which really pushes your body into fat burning mode. This is an extremely hard way to diet because as the calories drop and you get hungrier, you're increasing your output. You're having to do more cardio. Sometimes for a 16-week shred, I was doing 2 hours of cardio at the end. So an hour in the morning, an hour of strength training, and an hour of cardio in the evening. And I was doing that consistently, sometimes for maybe 8 weeks of my shred, depending on how much body fat I had to lose. So that's a very intense way to shred, and it's not the way that I recommend unless you have a specific timeline for which you need to be shredded. If you have a longer timeline and your goal is eventually I want to look like this, or I'm working towards this longer term goal, which is much more sustainable, then I would recommend that you choose a calorie restriction goal, which is lower than your total daily energy expenditure, which you can stick to kind of 6 days a week and give yourself a little wiggle room on one day for, mental fortitude more than anything. I would choose a lower calorie goal that you can stick to, and I would add cardio every single day, and I would make sure you're counting your calories and you're staying below your TDEE, and then I would just commit to doing that for a long period of time. If your fat loss comes in at about 1 pound a week or 2 pounds a week, you're doing good. So let's say you have 20 pounds to lose. If you lose 20 pounds in 20 weeks, you're absolutely golden. And people are like, 20 weeks, that's 5 months. I'm like, yeah, like that's how long it takes to lose 20 pounds with sustainable, consistent effort. So that's how that I would recommend that you do it. Now, here's the other thing. If you find 1200 very tough, which I'm sure you do, because 1200 is a very, very low amount of calories, then what I would recommend is that you work out what your TDEE is. We actually have a page on our website, which is thesculptedvegan.com/macro calculator. So write that down, thesculptedvegan.com/macro calculator. If you go there, you will be able to work out what your TDEE is, and you can possibly, after this more muscle challenge, you can possibly eat a little more. So you could maybe go up to 1500 calories. So I would suggest that you choose a calorie amount which is lower than what you need, about 200 calories lower than what you need, but that is not so low that you will be absolutely starving and break your diet. You want to choose something that you can stick to for the long term. And then you focus hard on building muscle, you continue to do your cardio, and you eat in a calorie deficit. And if you commit to doing that for long enough, then you will lose body fat. So how do you know if you're getting close to your goal or not? Well, you take progress pictures every single week. And if you are getting leaner in your progress pictures week on week on week, don't change anything. The plan is working. But the problem is women get too impatient and they go, oh, well, I haven't seen any changes from last week. But what they mean is they haven't seen the changes that they wanted to see, right? Because it feels like they should have lost far more weight because it was so hard, right? They did so much cardio and so much training. And I was starving most of the time. So surely I'm due more, surely I'm due more than this, right? So they get really annoyed that they haven't lost the weight that they feel they are entitled to lose because of all the effort they've been putting in. And so they start changing up the plan. They go, well, this week I'm going to do some extra this, or I'm going to starve myself for 3 days, or no, don't do that, right? Don't panic change. Stay consistent. Say I'm going to stick to this for at least 4 weeks, and then I'm going to measure where I am in 4 weeks. And in 4 weeks, if you have lost 4 pounds, round of applause for you. And people are like, 4 pounds in 4 weeks? This is why it's better not to get fat in the first place. I hate to tell you. Like anytime I've ever had to lose weight for a bodybuilding show, I've been like, well, Kim, all those margaritas and mud pies that you enjoyed all winter, you're now going to have to work them all off, right? And it's bloody hard and it's really annoying, but it has to be done. So don't get fat in the first place is my advice. And if it's too late for that, then commit to 1 pound a week and you will absolutely be doing well. Okay, Trina Ann. Hi, Kim. I'm told it's best to exercise in the morning, but I suffer from brutal insomnia and I can't bring myself to shorten my already small sleep window by waking myself up early. I usually work out in the evening, fairly close to my bedtime. Am I doing myself a disfavor? So, Trina, first thing I would say is look into 2 peptides if you're into them. DSIP, in fact, 3. DSIP, Delta Sleep Inducing Peptide, plus ipamorelin. They both increase growth pulses while you sleep, which drops you into a deeper sleep and makes you sleep better, okay? Life-changing for my sleep. Second one is microdose of semaglutide. Absolutely and utterly transformed my sleep. I never get up to pee in the middle of the night anymore. I go to bed at about 9:30. I swear I'm turning into a pensioner. I go to bed at 9:30 and I fall asleep within 15 minutes and I sleep soundly till about 5 a.m. So that is what I would recommend. Get to bed earlier. try out some peptides. But if you're like, no, Kim, thank you, I'm not going to do that. That's totally fine. Working out in the morning, work out in the evening, doesn't matter. Your body doesn't know the difference. If someone told you it's better to work out in the morning, it's because it was better for them. It doesn't mean it's better for humanity or better for mankind or better for muscle building or better for fat loss. It just means it was better for them. I detest working out in the morning. If I had to get out of bed at 5 a.m. and go and train, I would slip my wrists, but I don't, thank God. So I don't train till about 9 a.m., right? And even that's kind of early for me. Like I'm a midday trainer. I'm most energetic at around like 1 o'clock or midday or 2 p.m., right? That's when I have my most energy. So that's when I prefer to train. But I do try to get it done in the morning just to get out of the way. So don't listen to those people who say it's better to train in the morning. It's absolutely not. It's better to train at a time that works for you when you can push your hardest, and that's where you get the best results. Carrie Ann Hill, due to the time change, I'll be at work today, but I just want to let you know that I love the new program. I love the 30 minutes intense workouts and the focus on muscle rather than shredding. It reminds me of EBM. Question, is the Randox app still in the works? So, Carrie, no, Randox is not in the works. Whenever we went down the rabbit hole with Randox, I just decided that, you know what, I was like, do you know what? Well, we mutually decided actually, whenever we really looked at it, it was like, is this going to be best for both our businesses? And we just decided that it wasn't. So I have decided not to go down that route because I didn't think that it would best serve the future of the company. So we are going back to Be Sculpted. So Be Sculpted is now happening. Be Sculpted is a thing. We're back on board with Be Sculpted. One thing you will know about me is change is the only constant. That's what I said to Natasha every day, my PA. She comes in and I'll say, Tasha, we're going to do this. And then she'll go, okay, well, it might change tomorrow. I'm like, yep, probably will. But change is the only constant around here. You have to be flexible to work with Kim because I rarely sit still and I change my mind on a dime. So, well, actually, this wasn't on a dime. This was a lot of thought went into changing this. But that's why I'm always hesitant to talk about things. But I really did think we were going to go down the Randox app, which is why I talked about it to you guys. But so Be Sculpted is happening. I reckon it's going to be June, April, May, June, probably maybe before, but I would say June. We're designing it at the minute. It's being designed around, it's going to be like a home. So it's going to, the rooms are going to be like there's going to be like the hub, which is the home. And then the family room is where all the community is going to be. And the workout room is where you're going to train, obviously, or the home gym, we're going to call it. And then the kitchen is where like all the nutrition stuff is going to be. And then we've got the store cupboard, which is where you're going to be able to like buy stuff eventually, like dumbbells and booty bands and not protein powder, all that kind of stuff. And then we've got like the medical cupboard or the medical drawer. I haven't decided fully on the name yet. And that's where like all of the medical stuff is going to be. And whenever you move around Be Sculpted, you're going to just feel like you're home, right? And it's going to feel very familiar, like the rooms of your house. So that's why I'm designing it and I'm really excited. Anne-Marie Hinkson, please explain, how does building more muscle burn fat? Woo! Okay, my favorite subject ever. How does building muscle burn more fat? So muscle is very calorie hungry. Muscle requires a constant supply of nutrients, amino acids, blood flow, sugars. It's constantly converting glucose into glycogen. So your muscle is live tissue, which is constantly working. Your muscle is like your worker bee, right? It's mostly what it's doing is it's converting glucose into glycogen. And if you train your muscles, you're converting glucose into glycogen. So you eat food, your body converts that into glucose, puts it into the bloodstream. Insulin then knocks on the door of the muscle and goes, hello, we have glucose for you. And your body then, and then insulin kind of like turns the key. Little receptors pop out called GLUT4 receptors. They grab hold of the glucose, they suck it into the muscle, and then the muscle converts it to glycogen. All of that takes energy, right? All of that process, which is happening all the time. So the more you train, the more glucose you use, the more glycogen your body converts, right? The more calories your body burns, because that all requires energy. So the more muscle you have, the more calories your body burns at rest, because your muscle is constantly needing fed, being fed, working hard. It's live tissue. So whenever you have more muscle, your metabolism raises and your need for calories raises, because your body requires more calories to go through its processes that the muscles do. Fat, however, although fat is metabolically active, fat is just storage tissue. So they're just store cells. So they kind of just sit there, not really doing very much. Now, the fat around your middle is metabolically active. It can actually produce hormones. So the fat around your middle is constantly producing estrone, a weaker form of estrogen. It pumps that estrogen out into your bloodstream, which is not good because estrone is very inflammatory. So the more belly fat you have, the more inflammation you will have and the shitter you will feel. So that's why why I always say to people, people are like, I'm so inflamed, I'm so puffy. I'm like, lose the belly fat, right? Easier said than done, I know. But I have a peptide for that, by the way. I'm only joking. So, well, I actually do, but Motzi, really, really good for burning belly fat and also gives you like a shot of energy. It's incredible. I do Motzi 3 times a week now. I'm like a walking peptide. So, if you burn the belly fat, then your body will not be as inflamed. Your body will not pump as much estrone into your bloodstream, and you will not have as much inflammation because estrone is very inflammatory. So, but body fat is really just, it's not dead tissue, but it's just useless. It just sits there doing nothing. It doesn't require any calories from your body to keep it alive. Muscle, on the other hand, requires a huge amount of calories. So the more muscle you have, the more calories your body will burn at rest. That's why huge bodybuilders with loads of muscle eat an enormous amount of food, because their body is constantly turning that food into glycogen. So think about it like this. Your muscles are like a big, massive calorie sink. So it's like having these enormous machines in your house, right? It's like imagine you have a big log burning stove in your house that you keep lit all the time. Well, you would have to be constantly putting logs in that log burning stove, right? So imagine each of your shoulders are log burning stoves. Your back is log burning stoves. Your legs have log burning stoves in them. In fact, your quads probably have 3 log burning stoves in them. So the more muscle you have, the more logs you have to put into the stoves to keep them going. That's what muscle is like. So whenever you eat food, that food is being converted into energy that your muscles can utilize. If you don't have muscle and you just have loads of fat, there's nowhere for your body to put that food. So if you're not using it as energy, then your body has to put it into fat store. So that's why whenever you are overweight and you eat a lot of food, you get fatter. Whenever you are not overweight and you have a lot of muscle and you eat a lot of food, and you are training that muscle, you get musclier. The body uses the food as fuel to build more muscle. When you're overweight and you're not training, the body uses the food to pack more fat into muscle stores. That's the easiest way I can explain it. So that's why you must always, always, always work hard to build more muscle. It is your longevity muscle. It keeps you healthy later in life, but it also means that you can eat more. And who doesn't want to eat more, right? It's like so pleasurable to stuff your face full of food. And by the way, I know I'm on very low calories during the week. Some people message me and they go, Kim, I think I would die if I was on 1,200 calories. You have to understand, like 1,200 calories during the week or 1,200 calories consistently allows me to go out for dinner whenever I want, have a beer whenever I want, go like on the weekend. I took my kids for pizza. And I only had half of the pizza because like I was full. But if I wanted to, I would have eaten the whole thing. So it allows me to eat as much as I want and have all of the treats in the world that I want without restriction. Like if I want to go and eat half a jar of peanut butter with chocolate spread, which I love doing, I totally do it. Like I stood in the kitchen the other night with a jar of pip and nut and I just spooned that bad boy out and into the chocolate, into my mouth, into the chocolate, into my mouth. I'm doing a bikini show this weekend and I was stuffing my face full of probably, I would easily say I'm sure I ate 6,800 calories of peanut butter. Didn't even think about it, right? Just literally my body just burns it off. So the fact that I stay low most of the time means that when I fancy something like that, oh my God, I can just completely pig out and have it. And that's the beauty of being super lean and sacrificing your hunger, most of the time so you can have those big, massive treats. Like it's like, I would rather go on a big, huge spending splurge, right? And go and buy like, Louis Vuitton or something rather than going into, like a budget store. Over here we have Primark. You guys, I don't know whether Target is like a low store in America or a budget store, but I would rather, instead of buying something cheap stuff consistently every day, I would rather go and have a big splurge every so often. That's just my personality. That's how I am with food. I would rather be hungry 90% of the time than go and have a massive big splurge with whatever I want and really enjoy it without any guilt whatsoever. And that's how I've trained myself to be. And that really, really works for me. The problem is whenever we have big splurges all the time, right? That's why we get ourselves into trouble. So anyway, I kind of went off on a tangent there, but that's how muscle burns more fat. Okay, last question, Trina Ann. Sort of antithesis to what we're actually doing here, but is there a way to shrink unwanted muscles? I have Popeye's physique where my calves and forearms are huge and they are equal to or larger than my thighs and biceps. I have since built my biceps up. Since I built my biceps up, the disparity in my arms isn't so bad. But I'm a little reluctant to build my legs up too much because I don't want them to look like tree trunks. I currently have 17-inch calves and 16-inch thighs, and I would really love to trim those calves down. So Unfortunately not, Trina. Like, see, when it comes to calves, you're either blessed with big calves or you're not. My legs literally go straight up and straight down. I have no calf muscle. If I stand on my tiptoes, then I do have a calf muscle, but it's like this teeny tiny little muscle that pops out the back. Whereas my husband has the most incredible, shapely, beautiful legs. Naturally, right? Just has these gorgeous calves. But that is unfortunately genetics, right? You either have them or you don't have them. Can you train them harder and make them bigger? Yeah, you probably could, right? I know bodybuilders that have. I just don't have any more energy in the tank for calf day. Like, I can't imagine anything worse than just doing calf day. So I don't. But can you shrink your calves if you're genetically blessed with slightly bigger ones? No, I don't think so, is the honest to God's truth. The other thing about building up your legs is, unless you're super lean, then probably your legs may be slightly bigger because of body fat. And I don't know what I don't know what size you are, but I would never recommend anyone skips leg day. One, because it is so incredibly hard to build muscle in your legs. Like, it is, people so underestimate what it takes to build leg muscles. It takes years and years and years of soul crushing, back breaking work to build muscles in your quads. So I would never advise that anyone ever holds back on quad day, because honestly, most women are just not lifting heavy enough to even build muscle in their quads. I have to be honest, not you guys, of course. I got you. But all the other people not in this program, they're not training their quads hard enough to build muscle, and then they can't understand why they don't build. It's because they're just not training them hard enough. But so never hold back on quad day ever. If you want to reduce the size of your thighs and your calves, I hate to say, reducing body fat is what's going to do it. And that is what is going to make your legs look a lot thinner. Like, I was looking at my legs in the mirror there the other day, and yes, I have lost some muscle in my legs, but I haven't really. I flexed my leg the other day. Oh, my quads are so sore from yesterday. I flexed my leg. I was like, look, you see, I've lost so much muscle. Who was it? I think it was my daughter. And she went, Mum, your legs are massive. I was like, well, they're not massive. She went, you really haven't lost any muscle. But what I have lost is all the body fat in my legs. I literally don't have a pick of body fat in my legs. I have no cellulite whatsoever. I've also unfortunately lost all of the fat in my ass. And see, when you lose all the fat in your ass, you really realize how much of your gorgeous big glutes that you thought you had was just fat. Yeah, and it's actually very humbling to look at your bum with no body fat. Like, I have no body fat in my bum. I can see every muscle separation. Not no, I have some, but I can see every separation of my glute med, my glute max. My husband was like, Kim, you have striations in your bum, the other day whenever I was bending over to inject myself with my peptides. And so but then you look at your bum and you go, oh, holy crap. Like, I was used to look at my glutes and go, look at the amount of muscle I built on my glutes. No, it was fat. It was fat. So see all those girls you see prancing around Instagram and they're like, I have such big glutes. Look at this built my glutes. I'm like, no, love, that's fat. That's not glute muscle. Very rarely is it glute muscle. If you truly want to see what muscle you built in your glutes, you have to get down to less than 14% body fat, and then you'll really see what muscle you have. Have I built a lot of muscle? Yes, my glutes are literally double the size that they were, but I can see the true size of them because there's no fat on them. So if you want to reduce the fat, the size of your legs, reduce your fat in them. If you want to reduce the size of your glutes, reduce the fat. You want to reduce the size of your arms, reduce the fat. Everyone has sculpted arms, six-pack abs, and lovely long lean legs. Unfortunately, it's just usually covered with a layer of fat. Okay, let me just check the other questions and see what there is before we finish. I forgot to check the EMBM group, actually. Tanya Stenton is asking, she says, oh, sorry, my question, she was actually for Dr. Rachel, and I saw Dr. Rachel did actually answer. Laurie, you're asking me for help with your posing. I will go back and answer in the group. I can't help with posing questions live on the call because no one else can see them, unfortunately. So, and then there is a question from you from 6 days ago about how I was the challenge judge, but I answered that last week. So, I don't know why it was only 6 days ago. Oh, you know why? Because I was a day late last week with the call. That was why it was 6 days ago. Let me just check EMBM quickly, which is one of our other groups, to see were there any questions in there, because I would not like to miss them if there was. And if there isn't, then I can't believe it's 5 o'clock already here. Guys, our daylight savings are this weekend. So we go back to normal time next week. So we are an hour, you guys are an hour later for if you're in America for this call, but it will be, it'll go back to normal time next week. Okay, no other questions. That's totally fine. Perfect. So we'll go back to normal time next week for this call. And yeah, this was great. I just love this. I was definitely like high energy today. I'm really feeling good at the minute. And I so lovely to see so many of you with your cameras on. Let me just, Kim, our flexible friend, Maria saying that's so funny. Let me just have a quick scoot through the questions. See if there anything that I could answer quickly before I finished. Nancy Trevino, how do you stop straining your neck when lifting heavy? Have more body awareness, Nancy. Everybody lifts their shoulders up like this. Stop lifting your shoulders up. You have to roll them back down, push them down your back. Don't let them come in. Jennifer saying cardio for this program is awesome. Thank you. I enjoy it. I was like, I'm going to do cardio that I enjoy. I don't want to do any crazy TikToks. I fucking hate burpees with a passion. All that shit on the floor, can't stand it. So I'm just going to like dance and have fun and get my heart rate up and just like, and I just really enjoyed it. So I'm really glad that you guys have enjoyed it too. We'll definitely do more of it. Who else is saying? Brooke is saying as well that she has been enjoying the new cardio. Okay, guys, I think that's it. I think I got through all the questions. I'm stunned because I never get through all the questions. Thank you so much for being here. Sending you all lots of love, hugs and kisses. See you all in the workout tomorrow. It's going to be a good one. And I'll see you back here at same time next week for another Q&A, but with daylight savings. So remember to go back to the normal time. Okay. Love you all so much. Bye, guys. Thanks so much for being here.